world's cold open, just me singing, just me singing. I got some chores done in my apartment while I was thinking. Couldn't come up with a skit to act out. Inspiration. So I figured I'd just sing some nonsense. Sit and listen. You may find it funny, you may find it sad. These musical cold opens ain't the worst we've ever had. I couldn't find a wholesome angle to approach this from. The funny in this movie is just children using bad words. Bad words.
Welcome to Does This Still Work? The podcast looks at old movies and asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka, and today we're discussing Donnie Darko from 2001 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the ones who would vote for Dukakis, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
I had a quick question before we get into the history section. I'm curious. Do you actually know who Dukakis is?
He was the guy that ran against HW.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
All right, George, take us back to 2001.
And that's the way it was.
So, for some reason, I had it stuck in my head that this movie came out in 2003. Not 2001. So the first statistic here is from 2003, and I'm not going back to find the other one. According to the internet, there were 21 plane crashes worldwide in 2003 out of 21,182,617 flights, for an accident percentage of 0.0001%.
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Since 2000, the US has had 34 aircraft accidents. 0 of them have had anything to do with converging tangential universes, at least that we know of.
Too bad you didn't find what the stats are for today, thanks to the new administration that we have in the White House. How many planes have crashed since we brought back old Donnie Trump?
See, I actually thought about that, but I thought we'd have to wait till next year to actually give that stat, so we'd have a whole year's worth of statistics.
But we've got plenty so far.
Yeah. This film also takes place in Virginia, so the little bit of news that I have in here comes from there. So, Joe, give us this headline from the Daily Progress of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Has there really been any progress in Charlottesville, Virginia?
Probably.
I guess. All right, headline. Toy soldiers may have inspired school vandalism.
The movie Toy Soldiers is about some rich kids with behavior issues, I imagine kind of like The Breakfast Club. The school in that movie is Regis High School, and the students in that movie vandalized it to read rejects. Well, some grown-ass adults in Albemarle, Virginia, on a senseless vandalism spree, completely missed the wordplay there and decide to just paint the word rejects on the sign of Miller School where they graduated a few years before. They were arrested when police found their burned-out car belonging to one of them, which led them to find the three men with blue paint still on their hands. I'm guessing drugs and/or alcohol were involved.
Sound like smart guys. Wonder how well they did when they graduated, like when they had the top of their class.
Doesn't sound like it. This film is set in 1988, 13 years before it came out, in suburban Virginia, and is based on an urban legend that the writer and director heard as a child about ice falling from a plane through a kid's bedroom ceiling. It mentions the Bush-Dukakis election and shows kids as being less conservative than their parents.
Those were the days.
Right? It touches on mental health, but that doesn't count when the delusions are real. There's not much of a cultural context for slightly anachronistic for its time film based on an urban legend and heavily influenced by John Hughes.
Oh, that guy again.
So, without further ado, let's talk about Donnie Darko.
Indeed. Well, let's start out with who is in it and who directed and wrote it. Well, the writer and director, the person you say got this idea from urban legend, is Richard Kelly.
Yep, and we haven't seen shit else from him.
No, he actually hasn't done that much, which I'm surprised considering the reputation of this film. People seem to really like it. It's some sort of a cult favorite.
Yeah, well, he wrote it in 28 days. The number of days that this film spans.
Yeah, okay. Oh, it's just like the movie, 28 days later. Too bad he wasn't involved with that. Anyway, here's the blurbs. IMDb says, after narrowly escaping a bizarre accident, a troubled teenager is plagued by visions of a man in a large rabbit suit who manipulates him to commit a series of crimes. Now, can you guess what YouTube says about this film?
Not as much as it usually does.
Here, folks, is what YouTube, not related to IMDb, says about this film. After narrowly escaping a bizarre accident, a troubled teenager is plagued by visions of a man in a large rabbit suit who manipulates him to commit a series of crimes.
Yeah, the exact same thing.
I don't think we've ever had that before, have we?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
maybe once. Maybe once.
It's so weird. It's like, it's identical, word for word. It's like, who do you think copied off who?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about some of the characters we will be talking about in our discussion. Of course, the first person we talk about is Donnie Darko, and that is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and we've seen him for the show in Jarhead and Brokeback Mountain, and we've both seen him in City Slickers and The Day After Tomorrow. And I've seen him in Spider-Man Far From Home, Nocturnal Animals, and End of Watch. Gretchen Ross, the girlfriend, or will she be by the end of this film, is played by Gina Malone. And I've seen her in Contact and Nocturnal Animals. Hey, Nocturnal Animals again, they're both in that.
Yep, and I've seen her in The Hunger Games Catching Fire and The Hunger Games Mockingjays Part 1 and 2.
Rose Darko, that's the mom, is played by Mary McDonnell. For the podcast, we've seen her in Dance with the Wolves, Independence Day, and Matawan. And I've seen her in Passion Fish.
And I've seen her in the TV 2000s reboot of Battlestar Galactica. For the record, I can't believe Donnie Darko came out after Independence Day. Like,
actually, it came out before. It's 2001. Independence Day came out after that, right?
No.
Well, when did Independence Day come out?
Independence Day came out...
This is 2001. I'm pretty sure Independence Day came out after that.
Nope, 1996.
Oh my God, that's right. Jesus. Yeah, I'm getting my dates mixed up. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, this movie, it's set in 1988, so it's not, like, anachronistic enough to remember it as being a period movie. So it just feels like it was released in the 80s.
Well, which is the tone, obviously, they wanted to set.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eddie Darko, that's the dad, is played by Holmes Osborne, and I've seen him in Election. Elizabeth Darko, that's the sister, is played by Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jake's real-life sister.
Mm-hmm.
And for the podcast, we've seen her in Away We Go, Stranger Than Fiction, and Mona Lisa Smile. And we've both seen her in The Dark Knight, and I've seen her in Adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, that's the rabbit, is played by James Duvall, no relation to the other Duvall. And for the podcast, we've seen him in Independence Day, and I've seen him in Go and The Doom Generation. The Doom Generation is a film that I don't remember anything about except that he gets his penis cut off in that. And I don't want to see this again.
Okay.
Jim Cunningham, that's the Guru, is played by Patrick Swayze, who I forgot was in this movie completely. We've seen Mr. Swayze for the podcast in Dirty Dancing, Ghost, and To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. And I've seen him in The Player.
And I've seen him in The Outsiders.
Dr. Lillian Thurman is played by Catherine Ross. And for the podcast, we've seen her in The Graduate. And I've seen her in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Stepford Wives, the original version, and The Swarm.
And I've seen her in The Final Countdown. Okay.
I know nothing about the rest of that song. I only know that part.
That's the only part you need to know.
Karen Pomeroy, that's one of the teachers, is played by Drew Barrymore. And we've both seen her in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and I've seen her in Scream and Wayne's World 2.
And I've seen her in Batman Forever, The Wedding Singer, Ever After, A Cinderella Story, Freddy Got Fingered, 50 First Dates, and I've heard her in Titan AE.
Okay. So, let's get into the real discussion. What did you think of that soundtrack?
The only song I really remember from it is Mad World, and that's a fucking banger.
When I first saw this, and I got the same impression when I saw it again, it just suddenly reminded me. The first few minutes, I'm like, wow, this feels more like a music video than a movie.
For In Excess, yeah.
Yeah, just like, what are they doing? It's like, come on, get into the story. It's just that kids just walk in and just playing the music, and like, very, very pop song oriented soundtrack, which I enjoyed. I thought it was good. Mm-hmm. Mostly white singers, but other than that, it's
mostly white actors too.
That's true. I think there's like one black person sitting in the one of the classrooms. That's about it. No black teacher, no nothing.
And there's one Asian student that can't quite pronounce the sh sound.
Right. And for some reason, there's also the heavyset girl who's picked on, who's told to go back to China for some reason. Oh, I think she looked Native American to me, which I think was supposed to be a joke. These kids are stupid, but still.
It's not like racists are that discerning. Look at how many Sikhs got attacked for being Muslim.
It's true. People are very, very stupid, especially racist. But what did you think? Did you enjoy the soundtrack? I thought it was really good. Did you think it was like, I remember these two? Well, you said you only remember Mad World.
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack worked well enough that I didn't notice it.
I enjoyed it. It did bring back a lot of nice old memories. I didn't do a plot summary here because I'm curious how anyone would describe this film to someone who hasn't seen it. George, how would you describe this movie? Let's say I've never seen it and you want to describe it to me. Tell me about it.
All right, so it's a fever dream. So this is the story about a high school student who ends up in a time loop a la Red Dwarf.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison.
Well, the time loops in, like, Star Trek make too much sense. And that time loop involves the aircraft engine of the plane that his mother and sister are on falling through his bedroom roof while he is sleepwalking. It turns out he is being visited by an apparition from the future who warns him that his world is going to end in 28 days. Over the course of the movie, he befriends and becomes romantically involved with a new student who is in witness protection with a new name, who has immediately drawn the attention of two really rapey-looking bullies.
Mm-hmm.
The school has a stereotypical bad girl teacher who is just teaching literature, but because literature spans a lot of different topics and some of them are not G-rated, the more conservative gym teacher, a la Glee, has it out for her.
This may be the third or fourth movie we've seen where that is not the major plot of the film, but it's there.
Yeah.
Because Because it was in, I think, what was the John Sayles movie we saw about the sheriff that also had a parent complain about a book, although that wasn't what the movie was about.
Lone Star.
Huh? Lone Star, right. And also, and of course, Mona Lisa Smile, we know. And of course, Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society. I mean, just over and over again.
Yep.
It's a plot we can use again and again because apparently in America, we got a lot of parents who simply don't want their kids to learn shit.
Yep.
Sorry, but go ahead. Sell me this movie, George.
So he also is under mental health treatment, and his psychiatrist, rightfully, sort of, the way she goes about it is weird, but, you know.
Yeah, we got to get into that.
He would be considered schizophrenic. He'd be considered to be having a break from reality at this point, except there's an old lady in town that wrote, like, the definitive small handbook on time travel. And he gets a hold of this thing, and he's like, oh, no, never mind, I'm stuck in a time loop. And then the water thing from the abyss starts coming out of his chest and leading him around, which is just future echoes a la Red Dwarf. And eventually, this results in his girlfriend getting run over by Frank, who is the giant rabbit that's been following around, who also happens to be his sister's boyfriend. And then he shoots that boyfriend with his dad's gun, and then takes the dead body of his girlfriend to an overlook to watch as the time loop closes in on itself. He gets thrown back 28 days in time and peacefully and happily goes to sleep to be killed by that falling plane engine. The end.
Sounds like a very messy movie. I did not remember that. That was his sister's boyfriend?
Yep. Frank is the sister's boyfriend. She's on the phone with him at one point. She's taking a year off between high school and college to spend time with him, and he doesn't seem super appreciative about it.
And she calls him Frank. Yeah, that's right.
And
it's so weird. I didn't catch that. I've seen this film twice, and this is the first time.
And that's why. And that's why during the sister actually gets accepted to Harvard, and they throw while the mother is at a dance recital with the youngest kid, and like it's written on the little whiteboard on their fridge, which I have a whiteboard on my fridge, but it never has things written like "Where's George." But it has at the beginning of the movie "Where's Donnie," but it also has Frank went to get beer.
Right. That's right. God, that's so weird. Like I said, I've seen this thing twice, and I never made that connection. I don't know why. Anyway, since we did brush on Donnie's head and what he skipped.
Well, I don't know, Joe. Did I sell you on the movie?
Not really.
Okay. Good. I was trying to, and now it's as good as I could do.
If I had to sell this movie, I would put it this way. I would go like, I wouldn't get into all these details. What I would simply say is like, all right, this is a movie about a kid who's in school, who's having schizophrenic problems, or is he? Is he experiencing the stuff that's going on around him, or is he? It's,
well, like I said, it's not delusions if it turns out to be true.
True, but is it true? So which is what I want to ask you. Like, is this actually happening, or is this all in Donnie's head?
No.
Is he really dead at the end of this picture?
Yes. Yeah, he's really dead at the end of this picture. Like, the reality of the movie is that scientific wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff was true, and he got to exist in a parallel dimension where he got to have sex once before he died, and he went to sleep and died happily.
Now, is it ever... I missed it about the dating thing, so I might miss this too. Was it ever explained how he got into this loop? I know he had this long discussion with...
it had something to do with metal moving quickly around water, so airplane through a thunderstorm.
I remember this, yes.
And the speed had to be fast. And there also happened to need to be a nearby alternate dimension.
Right, but why would it just affect him? Well, I guess technically it affects everybody, but he seems the only one who has any knowledge. But I don't know. It just... That's why I sometimes wonder if he's just having a delusions. It's not really, if what we're seeing is really happening or not.
Nope. We get to take it at face value and let it just wrap itself up.
Well, we definitely see that he's not delusional. We see the rabbit. We see him trying to stab the rabbit, and there's a force field or something around it. It's like all sorts of weird stuff going on there. But speaking of weird stuff, is the psychiatrist good or bad in this picture? And compare the psychiatrist to the other psychiatrists we've seen in movies.
I forget exactly what she says, but at some point, like, he is walking towards Frank and saying stuff, and what she says doesn't have any therapeutic value to it. Like, what she says is bizarre at best. I'd have to find it, and I don't want to. But she's not a good psychiatrist.
The thing, I mean, look, this is a movie about a man who sees a giant rabbit who has time travel, so you can't take it too seriously, I guess. And I guess in this reality, what's the word I'm looking for? Hypnotism works, but I've been hypnotized. It doesn't work. It's bullshit.
You just don't believe in it enough, Joe.
That's the way things work. You got to believe in them for them to suddenly work. Yes, absolutely. Yep. That's why I take aspirin. I got to believe in it first for the aspirin to work. Sure. Yeah, I'll tell you about my time in hypnotism. I thought there was a time I thought it did work, so I went to this person who built themselves as a hypnotist, and I tried to get them to tell me, hey, my subconscious that I'm a great comedian, whatever. And I did the stuff that they told me to do. Oh, I want you to lift your arm, and I lifted my arm. But I lifted it because I wanted to, not because I was really under any sort of delusions or like you were in my control.
Maybe you wanted to because he was telling you to.
Yeah, well, no, exactly. I was listening to what he's telling me, but it wasn't. At every point, I was in control.
Maybe you just went to a bad hypnotist, Joe.
Yeah, I've been to more than one, though.
Yeah,
you're
bad at picking hypnotists.
In terms of other psychiatrists we've seen, she's certainly not the worst. I mean, there is stuff that Robin Williams does with Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting that would get him thrown out of psychiatric association completely. And at least, I mean, because of the way it ends, I guess they can't really have a wrap up. But thankfully, because the thing that's always great, man, I think we talked about this before, that drives me crazy about psychiatrists and movies, and the people who write movies know better than this, is at the end, the character will cry, or they'll have some breakthrough, and that's it. That's into therapy. oh, you're better now. Oh, you had a big cry, and now suddenly you can go off and you're like, it doesn't work like that.
Nope, sure don't.
Oh, it just drives every psychiatric movie does that, except this one at least. But a movie about a psychiatrist, I have this trauma. It's not your fault. Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me it's not my fault.
That was a very good impression of Robert De Niro crying. Yep, spot on.
That's right. In Analyze This, which another bad psychiatrist, actually. Although I think slightly more realistic than this one.
Slightly.
Okay. If you knew the world would end in 28 days, how would you spend your time?
That depends on how I know this.
Why would that depend on how you know it?
Because I can't think of a reason why I would think that that's the case and actually not think, no, I need to have an appointment with my psychiatrist.
Well, let's say we're about to go to war, and it's going to be a nuclear war. For some reason, it's been leading tensions, and looks like it's going to lead up to a big old explosion and killing everybody. What would you do before those days or weeks before or hours before then? I
mean, that's a very specific case, in which case I start trying to figure out a survival strategy.
Oh, but I wouldn't want to live if the world's about to be blown up. Fuck it, take me with you. I would spend my time trying to fuck as much as I can and do a lot of drugs. Which may be difficult if I do a lot of drugs to do a lot of fucking, but I'd have to figure that out. Because there are drugs I would never do.
Yeah, but you might as well try them if you're going to die anyway.
Yeah, exactly. People seem to really like heroin. Why not? I'm not going to be alive anyway to see the results of it, so why not? Let's try a little heroin. What the hell? But that's what I would do. Maybe I would finally experiment homosexuality. What the hell? Anyway, what's next on my little list here? What do you think of Patrick Swayze and his character's philosophy? I totally forgot he was in this picture. And when I saw him, they were like, wait a minute, Patrick Swayze is in this?
Yeah, and his character is like a self-help guru that is also a pedophile. So, what did I think about his philosophy? I think it was bullshit. It was a scam because All of them. Every fucking one of them. That they're all that. Every single... There's none. There's none of that. None of those people. None of those people that get on stage and talk to crowds of people and tell them how to fix their lives through simple tricks like positive thinking. None of them know shit. They're all wrong, and they're all just trying to make money. So his character was doing that and also running a child porn ring. So I hated his character because I was supposed to hate his character.
Yes, he is a fraud. And as you say, they're all frauds. Although I assume some probably really believe in their bullshit.
And he would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for that vandalizing kid. But he will now, in this reality, get away with it.
Oh, that's right. He gets away with it. You're right. if the event at the end of the film is real, then he completely gets away with it until someone else burns down his house and finds the child porn ring down in the basement. Which is interesting that this should be an element of child porn ring, because we now have controversy all over the news about... I know, I hate to bring things back to Trump, but what can you do?
No, what we can do is not do that, because people listen to our show to try and get away from that shit. So let's not.
But it's real. It's there. I can't not bring it up. So it's interesting that we should see that. And his whole philosophy comes down to, don't feel fear. Fear is why you do this. Fear is which I guess is somewhat true, that we do a lot of things.
It's not true. It's not true at all.
We do a lot of things based on fear of things.
We can do a lot of things based on fear. That's perfectly fucking fine. The real thing to do is sit with that fear for a minute. Sit with that fear and listen to it and ask it, what are we actually afraid of here? And then figure out what to do towards that very specific thing that you're afraid of. Not, I'm afraid I need to do something, because we do a lot of that. We do that as an entire country without actually analyzing and feeling the feeling. Like, we do things based on fear to try and stop feeling the fear. If we weren't so fucking afraid of feeling the fear, we wouldn't feel this need to act on it so quickly and recklessly.
I think there are reasons to. Sometimes your fear is justified, and your fear is there to tell you don't do that, and you shouldn't do it. It actually makes sense. It's a evolutionary thing there, and sometimes you should listen to it, and sometimes you shouldn't. Depends. Although he thought fear also had involved a kid peeing when he was asleep, which has nothing to do with being afraid.
Nothing to do with it. No, because he's wrong. Because because the real ones are all wrong and scammers too, and he's a fake one in a movie, so he's even wronger and stupider.
Oh, but they love him. When I first saw the picture and they showed a video of him,
look, talk about bringing politics into it. Gestures broadly at the Oval Office. Real people love the idiots too.
Yeah, it's true. But what I was going to say was, I'm surprised, because like I'd seen the film once and I just completely forgot a lot of it. And so I thought when they first showing the video that he was just going to be a character we just see through the video. I didn't realize he actually lived in the town. People knew him personally.
He was on the golf course that Donnie Darko woke up on.
Yes, which I didn't.
Like, we see him before we see him in the videos.
Right, which is a surprise. Anyway, do you ever watch a movie or TV show and you have, what the fuck are you doing here moment? Like, Seth Rogen is in this picture.
He's one of the bullies,
Wiley's
right?
in this picture, huh?
Is Seth Rogen one of the bullies?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I had to look that up because I was looking at him and I was like, wait, is that Seth Rogen? I checked, I'm like, that is Seth Rogen. What the fuck is he doing? It's just, wow. This entire picture is just to be blown. And again, a movie I already saw. I should really remember this. It was like 20 years ago. I'm like, you're in this? You're in this? When were you in this? So you ever have those moments, like I said, I forgot Parker Swayze in this movie. Ever have these moments, maybe of this film, another, where you're like, what the fuck are you doing here?
I did. I had that moment about Drew Barrymore in this movie.
You were surprised to see Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, I was like, is that fucking Drew Barrymore? That's fucking Drew Barrymore.
It is stacked with so many stars. Are people going to go on to be stars? I'm just really surprised how many names are in this picture.
The kid, the Frank kid, the James Duval, 175 movies.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Like, we say something, we make a big deal relative to our podcast. Like, we mention it in the credits if they've had over 200 movies. He's on his fucking way.
Yeah. Very successful young man. but not a star, weirdly enough. Well, people, I mean, he can walk into a store and people wouldn't know who he is, and yet he's been in tons of
I
films
just feel like he's hit that sweet spot.
where he gets to be a working actor without being bothered.
Yeah.
That is a sweet spot. How inappropriate is a teacher telling a student, speaking of Drew Barrymore, how inappropriate is a teacher telling a student that she should sit next to whatever boy she thinks is cute?
Terribly inappropriate, and I said that out loud during the movie.
It is wildly inappropriate.
New girl in class. Where should I sit? Sit next to whoever you think is cutest. That's not going to create expectations and tensions in a fucking hormone-driven group of teenagers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so bad for everybody involved.
That's like,
obviously bad for her.
If there could be criminally reckless use of words, that would be one of them.
Yeah. She suddenly got this pressure. Like, I don't even know who these boys are. I just got into this classroom. I might think a boy in another class is actually cute. And then, of course, the boy's like, oh my gosh, she's going to sit next to me? That means she's going to be my girlfriend? Or we're going to be fine? Like, it just, don't do that to children. Don't do it to anybody, but especially children. That's insane. That was really, at the end of this, she gets fired, and you have to but she gets fired for the wrong reason. This is the reason she should have been fired.
Yep.
Bad. World and teaching. What does this movie say about religion, do you think?
Nothing.
You don't think it says anything? They talk about religion. They talk about God doing this and that.
They talk about it, and then there's no evidence of it. They talk about it, and it matters nothing. It matters not one iota to the story, and that's the way it should be. It was hand-wavy, timey-wimey, sciencey bullshit that was the underlying thing here, and then they made that play out no God needed.
I guess. I mean, I honestly don't know what to make of it. Obviously talking more about science, but science they seem to put science and God together, like God is the science. All this stuff's happening because God is, controlling all of it, although they don't say which God or what religion you're supposed to follow. But yeah.
Because Donnie is talking with the physics teacher about this, and they get to a point in the conversation where the physics teacher's like, I have to exit this conversation for me because if I continue it, I'm going to get fired. And that was after Donnie, says one of the things that we would say if we were having that discussion with somebody. Basically problem of evil level shit.
And that was played by Noah Wyle. What does the ending mean, do you think?
Nothing. It means...
You think it means nothing?
I mean, what do you mean, what does it mean? What does it mean in what context? To us, it means the movie's over. To the characters, it means this mother is now and family is going to grieve the loss of this child. This girl is going to end up getting raped by these bullies and then murdered by her stepfather. So, because by the way, that was happening. The reason they were together that party night was because her mom fucking disappeared because probably her stepfather found her and murdered her. So, without Donnie in the picture, number one, those bullies are going to get her, and then number two, her stepfather's going to get her.
Well, because the bullies come to the house that they both go to, so I don't know. But you're right. Who knows? They might attack her someplace else.
They were hovering over her at the bus stop.
Oh my God, you're so right. That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, it is interesting how many threads are left open by having Donnie taken out.
Which, anything, that's the point. If anything, that's the point. The point is, you don't know how many lives you touch or what it would actually mean for you to be gone. Like that, if you could take a actual useful to some extent meaning from this, it would be that.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing up a lot of good points that I think makes the ending even more ambiguous to me. Because again, I'm not completely confident all this is happening. I think that
Oh, you mean in the movie or now?
I mean, I think a lot of this is in Donnie's head.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going into I think we might be in a fucking simulation.
No, God, when have I ever talked like that?
I don't know. That's why it sounded weird for a second.
No. In the movie, I'm not sure what we've seen is real and what's not right. I think some of this is just, all of it may be just Donnie's own brain, and we're in his brain watching this stuff, but I'm not sure any of this really happened. if it is real, and then you bring up a lot of good points that, yeah, a lot of bad stuff happens if he's not there. So in point of fact, it's actually a very sad, not only does he die, but his death is for what? Because suddenly all these people are hurt. It'd be better if he was still alive. He prevents a lot of bad things, actually. So I don't know how to take that. I'm not sure. I'd be interested in sitting down with the director. Do you realize that? Because I don't think he does.
Well,
God knows I didn't.
I think he did. And remember what I said in Will Ferrell movie?
Stranger Than Fiction?
Stranger Than Fiction. Like, the movie didn't have the gumption to actually kill off the main kid. This movie did. Like, it did that. It was like, nope. All right, parallel universe is done. Now you're in the regular universe, but the weird thing still has to happen. So you're squished and you're dead. Like, and it shows we can think through those consequences, and we are free now to think through those consequences. The movie doesn't have to show us any of that because we know that they're possibilities.
So the way you're interpreting it, does that mean? Well, we know that the mother isn't on that plane where the engine falls because she is home when the engine falls. But in the, I guess, alternate universe, she was on the plane?
That's happening in the future. That plane, that storm and that engine, like, that engine fell through the time portal and landed in that present, and they missed him the first time. But it's from that plane that she's on in the future.
That she's at home when her son gets killed.
Yeah. She was at home when her son didn't get killed.
Right.
She was at home at that point anyway. She wasn't on the plane when it fell. It fell from the future to then.
But see, this is what gets confusing. So, but in the future, she is on the plane.
Wait a second. Why? What was the why was the gym teacher? So the gym teacher's daughter and this family's youngest daughter are both on a dance troupe together, and they get sent to like nationals or whatever.
Right.
Mom is on that plane because dance troupe teacher has to
defend Patrick Swayze.
So, but she doesn't now because nobody's burning his house down. So mom doesn't have to get on that plane.
That's true. Yeah.
So even if that plane would still be flying. That plane might still get fucked up and crash in the future or whatever, but it won't have her and the daughter on it.
It's weird. Like I said,
it might have the daughter on it, but not her.
Not her.
She might lose her other kid.
Oh, that's true. That would be ironic. Your kid dies on a plane crash, but two different, same plane, but two different things. One dies on the plane crash, and the other dies from the engine falling. Oh, that would be horrific. Well, losing a child and stuff would be horrific. You would have needed the extra stuff. Oh, what a happy ending. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this film. It starts out, like I said, almost like a music video, and then turns into this weird sci-fi thing. It starts out like almost a teen comedy, although light. It's because there's no...
I can't see this as being a comedy in any sense of the word. Like, there's nothing funny about this movie other than a 10-year-old saying, "What's a fuck ass?"
I got the impression... It's not particularly funny. I got the impression it was supposed to be. But I don't know. It feels like there's a bunch of elements just stewed together that didn't always kind of fit together for me. So I don't know. Which brings me to, I guess, the final point. Does this film still work? Did it ever work? I
had more fun talking about this movie with you right now than I have thinking about this movie at any point. So I don't know what that says about the movie. But it's a cult classic. People enjoy it. There's nothing egregious in it that isn't in other movies that work. It's a weird movie, but it's not supposed to not be weird. It's supposed to be weird.
Yes.
Like, it pulls that off. It knows what it is, and it's weird, and it shows you it's weird.
But it's not David Lynch weird. Or John Waters weird.
Or even John Hughes funny, even though it has a lot of that teen angstiness in it.
It's not John Hughes funny. It's true. I
think it works, just for what it is.
I don't. I think it's a very messy film. I think a lot of things don't hold together, and you bring a lot of points I hadn't even considered. And I don't think the film really tackles. Yeah, I don't think it's a particularly good picture. I think the performances are fine. I guess everyone is age appropriate. No one's like 30 and playing a 19-year-old or whatever. Although Jake Gyllenhaal was 19 when he filmed this, which is obviously too old for high school, but That's typical films. What can you do? They're not going to have actual kids.
Actually, he was held back a year in the lore of the film.
Oh, okay.
So him being
because he got in trouble before, so because he got arrested, whatever.
So being in high school at 19, no, that's solid.
That's fair. That's fair. It wasn't for myself personally. Obviously, I like the weirdness of a David Lynch picture, and this wasn't weird enough for my taste.
Okay.
And it's not funny enough of a John Hughes picture, even though, I have my feelings about John Hughes, but at least I certainly have laughed at a John Hughes movie. I didn't really laugh at this. So it's like, what is this movie? Other than they probably paid a lot of money for that soundtrack. That's all I can say. That's where most of the money for this film went into, was paying for all those damn songs. But anything else? I don't know. I don't think it's a strong picture, to be honest. Yeah, so for me, it doesn't. I don't think it still works.
Okay.
If it ever worked. All right, my friend, what's up next?
Next week, we'll be talking about Superfly from 1972.
Oh, my God. Well, this is really different. You don't have to be, we'll be black people in that picture.
I've never seen
heard of
it.
Superfly?
I've heard of it. Never seen it.
Just curious, what have you heard about it?
It exists.
That's it. You don't know anything else. You haven't heard anything else. Okay.
I feel like when I watch it, I'm going to hear 1,000 fucking references.
Possibly.
Yeah. But
so, and speaking of soundtrack, it has a very good one, so that should be good. Oh, it'll be fun to discuss. So that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romaka. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romaka.
This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org.
The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
All right, Joe, give us this headline from a newspaper that I forgot to cite, but you can...
You're doing a great job on the history today.
See the clipping. Hold on a second. I'll just fix that. Hold on. There's a reason I put shit in the show notes. All right. It's not just for listeners. Dear Advice Diva, my boyfriend and I have been dating for more than a year. It started when he was married. Dear Advice Diva, my wife and I are friends with a well-off couple that lives in a ritzy home with all the trimmings, pool, artwork, luxury cars, etc. They can clearly afford whatever they want. Dear Advice Diva, my boyfriend gave me very expensive perfume and told me it is his favorite. Dear Advice Diva, my girlfriend used to date girls. She was very honest about this, and I truly thought I was okay with it. That is until recently when she and a friend seemed to act a little too close for comfort to suit me.